What's up, Dunwoody? Welcome back to the podcast. It's all about Dunwoody, Georgia. My name is Matt Weber. Show is brought to you by Dr. Brett Friedman with Village Orthodontics. And today we've got on Jasmine Hooper, who works for the American Heart Association. And she's going to tell us why she's involved with Dunwoody at the moment and how we can all be cleaner and healthier in the city. So I guess, Jasmine, I don't know, where do you want to start? How did you get involved with the American Heart Association?
So I got involved with the American Heart Association 2 years ago because I am a true advocate for our health and our well-being. And I believe that every resident in the state of Georgia, and of course in our wonderful country, deserves to live healthy, thriving lives.
Okay. And you've got a special place for Dunwoody because you used to live in the area.
Yes. I was a resident for just under 2 years. I just left, but I'm still very connected.
Did you see like too many smoking bars in the area? Like why Dunwoody? I guess you're working with all the cities in the area.
Yeah, we are. The American Heart Association is trying to work with as many cities and counties as possible. And the special thing about Dunwoody is that the city council in Dunwoody, they are so proactive and they really do care about the health of their residents. And so they actually reached out to the American Heart Association and they said, hey, look, we have an issue here. We want to protect our city from, a lot of tobacco establishments and hookah lounges coming in because they know that that can erode the health of their city. So they reached out to us about a year ago. And so we've been working with them to update their policy so that they can do just that, protect the residents.
Okay. Yeah, I remember, I graduated, I'm going to date myself. I graduated from college in 2003. And I remember Athens was just crazy smoky. Like everywhere you went, you go to a bar. My girlfriend at the time, now my wife, she would leave and she would have to shower before going to class the next day because your hair just smells like smoke and can't be good for your lungs. But not sure we were even thinking about that at the time. It was just kind of like a gross thing,
Yeah.
But there's so many people now that I feel like the word is out that smoking is bad for you. So you probably don't see it a whole lot anymore. Is it that rampant in Dunwoody right now? Like, how are restaurants allowed to have smoking?
Yeah, that's a great question. And you know what? You certainly look a lot younger than graduating in 2003.
Oh, thanks.
I will say in 2005, the state of Georgia passed a law that did begin to protect people from the secondhand smoke. So
that was as I was transitioning out. I do remember that. I remember going to clubs.
Exactly.
I remember going to clubs and there'd be like smoking areas where you could hang out, but then you'd like walk over there to smoke. And I'd always follow my friends over there to smoke their cigarettes. And
exactly. And I mean, think about back in the day when you could smoke on the plane or an office and they had a smoking section of the plane as if the smoke wasn't traveling to.
I know, right. Smoking sections. That doesn't make sense.
Exactly. So we now are in a much better place with our research. We now know, that that's not real. If you're smoking over here and I'm over here, I'm still going to get hit with secondhand smoke. Right. So that's why we are working with the cities to pass these, these policies that are a little more comprehensive and a little more backed by research.
Okay. Is there like a loophole where people can smoke in restaurants? How does that work?
Yes. So this is a little known fact, and this kind of is when the people who have the policy background, we put our hat on and we go through the law and we read it line by line. But basically there is a loophole in the current Clean Indoor Air Act that would I'm kind of nervous to say this. I don't want a bunch of businesses to come, but essentially what the issue is there's a loophole that would allow a business, so long as they can prove that 50% of their revenue is from the sale of alcohol, they can be exempt from the ordinance that protects from secondhand smoke. So, and you may not see people smoking, traditional cigarettes anymore, but what we're seeing is a lot of particularly young people coming in and they're smoking vapes. And they're doing it kind of
all of them are smoking vapes.
All of them. And it's so sad because it's worse. The hookah and the vapes are so dangerous. And what people don't realize, because there was a hookah lounge that came to Dunwoody. And when there's one that comes, you may get more and more. And what people don't realize that 1 hour of hookah smoke, or even just being exposed to hookah smoke for 1 hour, is the equivalent to smoking 100 cigarettes.
Really?
Yes. Yes, exactly. So remember back in the day, people used to do surveys. How many packs of cigarettes do you smoke a day? And people would say, oh, I smoke, one a day. And everyone's like, oh my God. But now we're doing much worse by smoking the hookah, and we're smoking 100 cigarettes in 1 hour. So Yeah.
Would have never guessed. That's crazy. Never actually
Exactly.
been to a hookah lounge. What is it? It's like you walk up and you all sit around a table and smoke
Well, you
tobacco.
know what? Well, you know what? That was an old school model. So the
Uh-huh.
traditional model was, yes, it was a place when you kind of one table, everyone sits around and they smoke this like huge pipe, and they don't sell, traditionally they don't sell alcohol in these establishments. But
Okay.
what happened was business owners got keen to, oh, when you bring
Ah.
in the hookah, people are sitting there for a long time and they're going to be ordering more drinks, and they can charge whatever on these hookahs. And the thing is, a lot of people are selling the hookahs by different vendors and they're off the books. So it's totally
Ah.
cash, it's not regulated. So it's a huge underregulated industry. And unfortunately, some business owners are cashing in on it at the risk of, the health and safety of their employees.
Mm-hmm.
Because even let's say if I'll be honest, I've worked as a bartender before and I absolutely hated this before I worked for the AHA. I hated
Yeah.
when customers would come up and smoke their cigarette in my face or smoke their hookah, and I couldn't say anything because I needed, the tips and the
Yeah.
money, but my health was at risk the whole time. And so just like you and I, we have the privilege of working from our homes or from offices, and we're not exposed. We also should protect the well-being of people who every day, Joe and James, who are working as waiters and bartenders in the service industry, like they deserve to be protected too.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like the vibe has changed around cigarette smoke. Like I'll be walking somewhere with my kids, and they'll be like, "Oh, that's terrible." And
Exactly.
there's probably a lot of less people doing it, but the vape pen has definitely become,
Yeah,
much more rampant.
what happened was the tobacco industry noticed that all
Hmm.
the research and the data and the advertising that people were doing to say cigarettes are bad, they said, okay, we got something else for you. And then they brought in the vapes, and then they spread some, misinformation that, oh, vapes is healthier for you, or vapes are healthier for you. And this is the way to quit. But people are smoking it way more than they ever were even smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, it's probably easier. You're
Yeah, it
not
is.
stinking
It is.
everybody up.
Way more inconspicuous.
Interesting, interesting.
Mhm.
Okay, so does Dunwoody have a lot of these restaurants, or is it more you're trying, the city's trying to make laws to update that loophole, I guess?
Exactly. So thankfully, not at this time. There are not many establishments that do allow the tobacco smoking indoors.
Okay.
But I will say, like I said, there's one hookah lounge in Dunwoody, and I just being out and about one time met a business owner who told me he didn't even know I worked for the AHA at the time, but he's a business owner, and he said, you know what, I'm looking to open a hookah lounge, and my partner and I are looking at Dunwoody because there's so little competition. And so what happens is when you have one or two that set up, other business owners are alerted, oh, we can set up in Dunwoody. There's no other competition going on. So this passing this policy would be proactive. It would proactively prevent Dunwoody from being like other cities that are struggling with a lot of vape shops and hookah lounges at every turn.
Discover Dunwoody is dedicated to enhancing the visitor experience in our city. They actively seek feedback from visitors to improve services and ensure that they have a memorable stay here. From providing comprehensive guides on local attractions to making accommodations easy to find. So if you know somebody looking to stay in Dunwoody, remind them to check out discoverdunwoody.com/What's Up Dunwoody for hotel options. By booking through that link, you'll be supporting this show and helping to promote our local businesses. So, let's make sure that every visitor leaves with unforgettable memories of our beautiful city. Okay. So what are
Mhm.
you asking from us? Is this to write the city, tell our city council and mayor what's up?
Yeah. So I'm just grateful that you invited me and I have the opportunity to talk on your podcast. And I
Yeah.
know that Dunwoody residents are tuned in. So really, this is an opportunity for me to educate Dunwoody residents, because every time I talk to someone, they're like, oh my God, I didn't know that. Or yeah, I remember that hookah lounge, and we didn't really want that there. So
Yeah.
this is just to kind of alert folks. And yes, if you do want to take that extra step and call your city council member or call Mayor Lynn Deutsch and let her know, hey, we want to protect our city. We want to see you protect our city. That way we don't, become like these other cities that are struggling with all these, secondhand smoke exposures. I'll just say that.
Okay. So as citizens, should we be contacting the city or should we be contacting the county? Is DeKalb County have anything to do with this? Are you working with them?
Yes. So to answer your first question, residents should absolutely contact their local council member or their mayor. And I believe the phone number is 404-271-9962. And that's the number that folks can call. And good old Mayor Lynn Deutsch's email is Lynn, Lynn dot Deutsch, Deutsch at dunwoodyga.gov. And I know that the mayor and the council members are so responsive to outreach. And if you want to show up to a city council meeting, that is top tier civic engagement, folks. And I know that residents in Dunwoody are very engaged. So those would be the ways to contact the city about this issue. And actually, yes, it is a wonderful idea to contact DeKalb County, because the American Heart Association has also been working with DeKalb County on updating their laws. So Dunwoody is, in a good position, but there's still more work to do. But as I mentioned, Dunwoody last passed a law to protect the residents in 2019. DeKalb County, unfortunately, has not passed a law since 2012. So why that's important is because think about what was going on 12 years ago. We do not have the same
vaping and stuff.
No, exactly. Like we don't have the same products on the market and the same issues that we have now 12 years ago. So the old policy language just says, oh, cigarettes are not allowed. But if the policy language doesn't say vapes, e-cigarettes, Zyn, all these other different products that are now on the market, if it doesn't address that, then I could technically walk into an establishment and say, well, it's legal,
Yeah.
So we're also working with the county commission, and I know we have some new commissioners coming in at DeKalb, so it's going to be a different political landscape. But I always encourage folks to find out who your commissioner is, find out who your council member is, and make sure that you talk to them and you let them know what your concerns are.
Yeah, it's always better at a city level. I know the cities make their own decisions, but that's good that DeKalb County is looking into it as well.
Yes,
Well, cool. Well, thanks for coming on, Jasmine. I appreciate this. I didn't know anything about this issue, so I'm learning something. I hope the listeners are learning something, and good luck.
Thank you so much for having me, Matt. I really appreciate it. And yes, I hope the listeners are learning something. And if you want to contact me, you can contact me via email at jasmine.hooper@heart.org.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much.
All right. Thank you.